Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about either having sun or moon in your first house and how that influences your personality and makes up your appearance. If you have a Leo ascendant or a Cancer ascendant, this could still resonate with you due to Leo being ruled by the sun and Cancer being ruled by the moon. Before I start, I'm going to leave timestamps below in my description box so either of you guys who have sun or moon in your first house could find where your placement starts. And I'm also going to briefly talk about what the first house, the sun, and the moon represents in your birth chart. The first house is the house of self, and it's ruled by Aries. The first house shows your early childhood environment and how that environment influenced your personality. The first house also shows how your appearance is made up as well. The sun is your identity, it's how people identify you, and it also shows your main focus in your birth chart. So wherever the sun is, that's where you put a lot of your focus and your energy. And in this case, it's the first house. The sun also shows what goals you put all your energy into. So depending on what sign you are, that'll show what kind of goals you're after. The moon represents childhood, family, ancestry, the mother. The moon is also your emotional responses and what makes you feel safe and comfortable and protected. The moon is also your subconscious motivations as well. So the moon shows what subconsciously motivates you to do what you do, depending on what sign your moon sign is in. First, I'm going to start off with having sun in the first house and how that influences your personality. So having sun in the first house, you most likely grew up around a lot of powerful and influential people. The people that you grew up around, they were most likely in the spotlight. They were most likely well known for some sort of business or some sort of skill or talent that they have. The sun has that fifth house influence, and the fifth house has to do with entertainment, creativity, your artistic talents, things like that. So you most likely grew up in that kind of environment where somebody or more than one person had some sort of gift that they were sharing with the world, some sort of talent that they had, and it was being showcased out in the public. Or if you didn't grow up around people who are in the spotlight, you may have been the one to be the chosen one out of your family to have that special gift or talent. And, they nurtured that gift or talent so you could share it openly with the public. When I think of sun in the first house people, I think of people who grew up in a family full of celebrities. So maybe you have like an aunt, a mom, or a dad, or a cousin, or whoever. Like you're surrounded by people who are in the public eye. So you may have grew up in a family full of celebrities, or maybe a couple of people in your family had celebrity influence, and they may have been the ones that really nurtured whatever gift or talent that you may have had in the beginning of your childhood. Having sun in the first house, you most likely were surrounded by a lot of masculine energy, because solar energy, sun energy, is masculine energy. So you were surrounded by a lot of males in your family, probably. It doesn't always have to mean that, because both male or females can have masculine energy. We all have both masculine and feminine energy, but generally speaking, you could have grew up around a lot of males in your family, or even if you grew up around a lot of women in your family, they may have had a lot of masculine energy. Growing up around these individuals, it really influenced your personality in such a way where it really developed your confidence. It really helped develop your artistic talents, whatever that may be. And whether you become well known for it or it's just something that you just do as a job, like you take one of your hobbies and you make it into like some sort of like self-employed job that you do, it's all due to the environment that you grew up around, because you most likely were supported when it came to entertainment and your creativity and your hobbies and things of that nature. Also, I would say definitely check your aspects. Certain aspects could really alter the meaning of having sun in the first house, especially when it comes to your confidence levels. Like, say, if you have Saturn aspecting your sun, that could really deflate your confidence. That could really make you feel insecure, and you're just always down on yourself. And probably the environment that you grew up around, it probably made you feel really insecure about who you are and the talents that you have. Taking aspects out of the equation, if you have sun in the first house, you're very expressive, very animated. I kind of think of sun in the first house people like they're like kind of like cartoon characters. Like the way that they move and the way that they talk and express themselves is very cartoon like. And it's actually amusing to watch, you know? But having sun in the first house, naturally you're somebody that could put on a show for other people. Even if you're not trying to, like just certain things that you do, it's just entertaining for people to watch. You guys can have a tendency to be pretty selfish, and that's because the sun represents your focus in your birth chart. So wherever the sun is in your birth chart, and in this case it's in the first house, the house of self, the house of Aries, you're definitely focused on yourself and you put a lot of your energy into yourself in this lifetime. You had the Leo influence in your first house, so naturally Leos are like self-absorbed and they're very vain as well. Like you guys are hella vain. Nonetheless, you guys are very positive people. You guys are very inspirational to others. Like people look up to you guys a lot. Like you guys are like that source of inspiration that people need to really go after their passions. Like just something that you do and just the way you express yourself and put yourself out there, it really just inspires people. People look at you like you're like a celebrity almost, even if you're not. You know what I'm saying? Like you have that celebrity presence about you where people are just in awe when they see you. Like, oh my God, like he or she is perfect. Like their goals, like that's how people look at you. People just love being around you. People love just your energy. Your energy gives people life. You know what I'm saying? Because the sun does give life. When you come around, people just love your energy. They love to be in your presence because it just makes them feel good, and you know, they just feel happy and they just feel uplifted when they're around you. Having sun in the first house, naturally this makes you very popular, whether it's within your family or within your friends group. Wherever you go, everybody wants a piece of sun in the first house person. You know, people just love you. Like I said, like it's just something about your energy. You know, people are attracted to you. People want to surround you and just be around you, you know, kind of like how the sun is the center of our solar system. All the planets are surrounding the sun. How the sun emits energy in space is the same way it's going to be manifested through you. You know, people just want to gather around you and get to know you, and they just want a piece of you. They want a piece of your energy. So also be mindful of that too. Since you have really good energy, you know, the kind of energy that really just gives life to people, kind of be mindful. Be mindful of who's around you, because there are energy vampires that will want to drain you of your energy. So be careful. How a sun in the first house person looks is they most likely have really clear skin, and their skin is very glowy. Like there's just this glow about their skin, most likely a golden glow, because it's the sun, and the sun rules the gold energy, the gold metal energy. A sun in the first house person, they dress very colorfully, so very vibrant colors. They could wear a lot of yellow, a lot of neon, those kind of colors, whether it's the clothes that they wear or they can even dye their hair that color. It makes sense that a sun in the first house person would dress very vibrantly, because when you think of the sun, it's really bright and it's very in your face, like pow, you know what I'm saying? If you're the kind of person that likes to wear jewelry, you most likely wear a lot of gold jewelry, and a lot of your jewelry can have a lot of rhinestones or diamonds on it. Sun in the first house people, they most likely have a very youthful childlike look, because again, with the fifth house influence in your first house, the fifth house rules childlike energy, children, things of that nature. So you most likely have a very youthful kind of appearance to you. I will say there is the flip side where a person with sun in the first house, they could have a very fierce kind of look. I feel like this mostly applies to somebody that has a Leo ascendant. They most likely have like this very fierce, cat-like, lioness kind of look, especially the women who have either sun in the first house or Leo ascendant. They most likely look very different when they put on makeup, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, you guys look really good in dramatic makeup. These are your women who they put full on eyeshadow, winged eyeliner, long eyelashes, so long to the point like you could like fly away kind of eyelashes. They may be the type of women, or this could apply to men. Any men out there who have this placement and you're into makeup, this could apply to you too. But you guys could do like the different colored wigs, things of that nature. You guys are really good at dressing yourself up in a very dramatic way. Like, you guys could really be in character. Like, you guys could be like whatever character that you want. Sun in the first house people, these are your people who, they're just muy extra, like hella extra. Like, you guys wear like the most extra clothes, jewelry, like y'all just do the most, and y'all go all out when you guys dress up. Like, you guys just dress super nice, and a lot of the stuff that you guys wear is very expensive, very royal like, because the sun is royalty. It's a royal kind of energy. Especially if you have a Leo ascendant, you definitely have this way of dressing like you're royalty, like you're very queen-like, very king-like. With having sun in the first house, you're very noticeable to people. And even if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to be in the spotlight, you don't want that kind of attention on you, you just naturally attract that kind of attention on you, whether you like it or not. Whether it's your eyes, your hair, the style of dress that you have, or your smile. You most likely have a very bright smile, so bright like the sun. With sun in the first house, you most likely have a very flamboyant presence about you. Your mannerisms are very childlike, you know what I'm saying? And you guys just have like this godly presence about you. Just people look at you and, they think that they've seen God or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have like this very exalted kind of presence about you, to where it's like you seem larger than life to people. Moving on to moon in the first house people. So moon in the first house people, your personality is influenced by your family and your mother. The moon rules the mother in your birth chart. So your mom really had a big influence on your mannerisms and just how your personality developed. In general, most likely having moon in the first house, you most likely grew up in an environment where you were surrounded by women. And that could be any woman. It could be your mom, it could be your grandma, it could be your aunt, it could be your sisters, it could be whoever, whatever kind of womanly figure. Or if you grew up around mostly men, they most likely had a lot of feminine energy in their own birth chart. Having moon in the first house, you were most likely very sheltered growing up. So the moon represents your safe place and its protective energy. So whoever that you grew up around, they most likely did their best to make sure you were protected. And that's because with moon in the first house people, you guys are very sensitive and very susceptible to other people's energies. You guys are very impressionable people, to where people could like easily manipulate you guys. Especially people can manipulate you easily through emotions. So whoever was in your life, they most likely protected you. They definitely protected you on all levels, especially emotionally and spiritually. Especially if you're a Cancer ascendant, you naturally have this protective energy around yourself, because when you think about it, Cancer has a shell that they just hide in, and it protects them. It protects their insides, basically. You're very protective of who you are and your personal matters, to where you're very private, and not a lot of people could really get past that shell. It takes a lot for people to really get to know you. So growing up, you definitely had divine protection around you at all times. I will say, with being sheltered, it kind of prevented you from kind of experiencing certain things that could have really helped your self-development more. As I was saying earlier, like, your family really influenced your self-development, and it was really kind of hard for you to kind of develop out on your own independently in the world from the people that you were like closest to, which is your family. As I was saying earlier, you definitely have divine protection all around you, and that could just be from having a long line of ancestors that were priests or priestesses, and people who knew how to do protective rituals. You know what I'm saying? You most likely developed spiritual abilities from your ancestors. So you probably manifested into this life as a priest or a priestess, somebody who is very spiritual, somebody who practices magic, utilizes moon magic, things of that nature. For my people who have moon in the first house, definitely check what moon sign you have. Depending on what moon sign you have, that could really change the flavor of this placement. Like, say if you have a Scorpio moon in the first house, that could have indicated that your childhood life and just your environment, your upbringing was very traumatic. You know what I'm saying? And that could have influenced your personality in a way where you're just very secretive and you're just paranoid and you just don't trust other people easily. Just keep that in mind, and also check your aspects as well. Overall, this influenced your personality to be very receptive. You're very intuitive, you're very psychic, you're very compassionate, very empathetic, emotional. Your personality is very changeable, just like how the moon is very changeable, and your personality goes through different phases. You are also a very mothering kind of person. You have like mother-like energy, to where people automatically feel this nurturance from you when they first meet you. You know, they feel safe, they feel protected, and they feel like they could trust you. Now moving on to moon in the first house appearance. Having moon in the first house, it also gives a subtle luminescence to the skin, kind of like a moonlit glow to the skin. Having moon in the first house, it gives you an innocent and impressionable kind of look, because the moon also represents childlike energy too, because the moon represents your childhood in your birth chart. So it could also give you a youthful look as well. This placement will also give you deep, soulful eyes. Like, your eyes just have a story to tell. You know what I'm saying? And people could see your soul through your eyes. This placement gives circular eyes. So you have eyes that look like full moons, and your eyes may be able to change colors as well, depending on what mood you're in. So you have like mood ring eyes. Moon in the first house people have this thing with their eyes where, say if they're sad, their eyes can turn a deep brown, or if they're horny, their eyes will turn hazel. If they're happy, their eyes will turn green, you know, things like that. This could give you a very feminine look. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you just have softer features. For women with this placement, they have like mom bodies, so they're very curvy, they have nice breasts, nice hips, nice butt, you know, and there's nothing wrong with having a mom body, because some mom bodies look snatched. So, you know, some women have that look to them, you know, where they're just very curvaceous, you know, and their body is just like this nice silhouette. And I also think of guys with this placement, they have like this husky body with this scruffy beard, and they have like this rugged kind of look. As for how a moon in the first house person dresses, is they dress very comfortable. And it makes sense, because when you think of the moon, it comes out at night, and typically at night you're comfortable, you're in your PJs, right? I quote Drake on this. So sweatpants, hair tie, chilling with no makeup on, that kind of person is moon in the first house. That's just how they dress. These are your kind of people who wear hoodies, sweatpants, oversized t-shirts, oversized flannels. These are your kind of people who wear socks and slides, or they'll just wear like a comfortable sneaker when they go out. As for the colors, a moon in the first house person likes to wear, they typically wear a lot of black, a lot of gray, a lot of white, moon colors. If they're into jewelry, they wear a lot of silver jewelry, and specifically the jewelry that they wear, they could wear like a lot of crystals, because crystals have like the spiritual healing effects to it. These people, they don't do too much. They're very low maintenance. And I'm not saying like they don't take care of themselves, they just don't do too much. Overall, a moon in the first house person, they have this divine, ethereal kind of presence. Their presence heals others around them. And moon in the first house also has to be mindful of energy vampires as well, because again, this ties into my spiritual narcissism video, where you could attract a lot of those kind of people because they sense that you have this very compassionate, healing, giving kind of energy, to where people will try to take advantage of that kind of energy. Be careful with who you let close to you, which naturally you know how to do that anyways, because you could pick up on people's vibes very easily. So you'll know who is an energy vampire, and you'll know who is trying to just be your friend because they're just interested in getting to know you, and they care for you. That is all I have for you guys today on this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, or you could send me an email. And you guys could also follow me on Instagram, and I'll leave that in my description box as well. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.